You're welcome to this lesson. Today, you are going to learn how to answer WASSCE questions on metaphors. I am Romeso Adeyemo with the brand name English with RMG, and this video is proudly brought to you by IOTA Virtual Learning Platform. In this video, you are going to learn all you need to know on metaphors for you to excel excellently in your WASSCE exam, with practical problem solving from the WASSCE past questions. However, this video is a series 2 of this video that I made on metaphors. So, if you are yet to watch the first part, kindly click on the link in the description below to watch that first so that you can have an in-depth knowledge on what I'm going to be saying in this concluding part. However, if you don't mind, because this part is basically on the past solving the past question and explanation on the last type of metaphors, you can continue. So, are you ready to continue learning with me today? Let's continue. So here we have question E from section B 2011 WAEC past question, and it reads: Early one morning, Jojo and I, armed with cutlass and axes, joined other young people who were more conversant with the forest in search of dry wood. It soon dawned on us that this essential commodity had been driven so far away that we had to wander into the heart of the forest before we could find a huge branch of tree that looked dry. So what we are concerned about is what? The art of the forest. However, I like to give you the full context so that you can understand it better and you can have a better guide to picking the correct answer. So always do that as well. Do not just single out the question. Go back to the context to read. So here we have the question. What figure of speech is contained in this expression and what does it mean? So here I need you to pay maximum attention because this might kind of look tricky. Some students might want to think that this is a form of personification because of the word heart. And we all know that it is only animate objects that have heart, animals and human beings. However, in grammar, literature, whatever, in English, function usually supersedes the form. So we need to go back to the passage to see what is the function of heart in this context. So from the passage, they said, had driven so far away that we had to wander into the heart of the forest. So this is like comparing where they are to the heart of the forest. It is not given the feature of heart, which belongs to human, to the forest. The expression was not like the forest was breathing. No. Do you understand? Or the forest had a heartbeat. No. It is like wander into the heart of the forest. That means the heart here is a direct comparison to what? The center or the deepest or a deeper part of the forest. Do you understand? Just like the heart is like the center of us as human being, or as a deeper or a deepest part of us as human being. So our answer is what? Metaphor. And it means what? The center or deepest part of the forest. So if you still have any question on mixing metaphor with personification, kindly put it in the comment. And if you would like to watch my explanation again, you can rewind the video so that you will get it correctly. Please don't mix it up. It is not a form of metaphor. Now let's move on to the next question, which is question E from section B, WAEC 2012. So we have, when we saw him, a wave of fright swept through him. So the expression we are concerned about is a wave of fright. And the question is, what figure of speech is contained in the expression above and what does it mean? So when we say a wave, what does it mean? It's like when something moves back and forth, or maybe like when you wave your hands. Do you understand? So when you don't say a wave of fright, you can't even see fright for you to even now say, okay, it's moving back and forth, because it means that when you are scared, it is a kind of emotion. Do you understand? But when we now say a wave, That means we are directly comparing how he probably shivered when he saw him due to the fear that he felt within him. Do you understand? So that is also a form of direct what? Comparison. So our answer is what? Metaphor. Are you following? Do you understand how I'm picking my answer? How I'm analyzing the question for me to pick the correct answer? And it means that what? He was totally scared, or he was absolutely what? Afraid. Do you understand? Now let's move on to the next question, which is question F from section B, WAEC 2002. So we have the public image of sharks has been greatly colored by the novel Jaws, which was turned into a popular movie. Overnight, the white shark became evil incarnate. However, it is not a demon craving human flesh. So, what we are primarily concerned about again is the underlined expression. However, it is not a demon craving human flesh. So, I would also like you to pay attention to something here. This is a form of a direct metaphor. However, the word not might want to make it seem confusing. Now, let's remove the word not and read the expression. Before we do that, let's look at the question. The question says, what figure of speech is contained in this expression? So now, let's analyze the expression itself. If we remove not, then we have, however, it is a demon craving human flesh. And then it is very obvious. If you've watched my previous video where I explained direct metaphor, that this is a form of a metaphor. And this not that is here does not change anything. It is just that it is a form of what? Negative sentence. So it means that we are directly comparing sharks to what? Demon. Even though here we are saying it is not a demon, it is still a form of comparison. It is just that it is a what? Negative comparison. We are saying it is not it. Do you understand? I hope it is not confusing just because of the usage of not to denote what? Negative. So that means our answer will be what? Our answer will be metaphor. Let's move on to the next question, which is question F from section B, 2001 WAEC past question. So we have Beatrice was preoccupied with this new challenge, his mind far away from the road before him. His son too was buried in the magazine he was reading. So we are primarily concerned with the underlined expression. Other expression as just for you to understand the context. So what is the question on this? We have what type of figurative expression is this and what does it mean? So now let's analyze the expression. His son too was buried in the magazine he was reading. So when someone is reading a magazine and we have the word buried, what is the same? Like, what are they trying to say? It means that they are probably comparing how he holds the magazine or how he held the magazine so close to his face, such that the magazine is covering all of his face in a way that is comparable to how someone is going to be totally covered when they are buried. Do you understand? So this is also a form of implied metaphor, comparing one concept to another because they have one similarities in common, not because they are the same or not because they are similar ordinarily, but because they have one feature or attribute in common. Do you understand? So our answer will be what? Metaphor, because it is also a form of what? Direct comparison. But here it is what? Implied direct comparison. Are you following? So for the second question, what does it mean? It means that a son has fully covered his face with the magazine he was reading. Do you understand? I hope you are getting it. If you have any question, do not hesitate to ask in the comment section, please. So now let's move on to the next thing, which is what? Extended metaphor. And it is the last out of the three types of metaphor. So An extended metaphor is a more elaborate and extended comparison beyond just comparing two things briefly in a sentence. That is, when we refer to extended metaphor, it is beyond the direct and the implied metaphors that we've discussed earlier and that we've solved questions on. Extended metaphors is beyond sentences. It is more about longer expressions and longer structures. So, an extended metaphor is usually developed and sustained throughout a text, often across multiple sentences, stanzas, or even entire chapter. So, it is the least that you can have for an extended metaphor is a paragraph. Do you understand? Or a stanza. It's not going to be limited to just one sentence. No. It is a kind of metaphor that it could begin with just one sentence, but every other sentence around it is going to build on it. What do I mean by that? Let's consider a few examples and how learning extended metaphors is relevant to your YSSE success. So here we have life is a road. So that's a direct metaphor. We start at birth and travel to the end. Happy times are sunny days, making the journey easy. Sad times are rainy days, making it hard. We meet people along the way. Some become friends and travel with us. Others we say goodbye to. As we go, we learn and grow when we reach the end. We look back and see the journey we took. So I want you to pay attention to this paragraph. It begins by comparing life to a road and it continues on that note by comparing life experiences to the experiences that you will have on a road. And that is why what metaphor is about, like the function of metaphor and every other figure of speech. It is to create vivid imagery, to make the reader or the listener connect to what the reader or the writer is saying. Do you understand? So we start at birth and travel to the end. You know, when you want to start a journey on a road as well, there's a starting point and there's an end point where you are going to eventually what? Alight from whatever type of transportation that you have taken. Happy times are sunny days, making the journey easy. Sad times are rainy days, making it hard. You can imagine traveling on a rainy day. Everywhere is just going to be messy. And you can also imagine traveling on a bright sunny day. Do you understand? So, this comparison will help create vivid imagery in the mind of the reader or the listener. So, this is the function of using metaphor, especially in extended metaphor, where you continue to build up on the initial metaphor that you have given. Do you understand? So let's consider another example, which is the second one. So we have our team is a puzzle. Each player is a piece that fits together to make a complete picture. So here we begin by comparing a team to a puzzle. At this point, I want to believe that you must have played with a puzzle at one point or the other in your life. Do you understand? So we all know that if you can't find every part of a puzzle, then you won't be able to create the picture or come out with a full picture that you have to design from the puzzle. Do you understand? So each player is a piece that fits together to make a complete picture. That is, every piece in a puzzle is as important as everybody in a team is as important. Some pieces are big and important while others are small but vital. That is, regardless of how small or how little someone's impact in a team might be, it is still essential to the success of the team. So we have when we work together, the pieces connect and the picture becomes clear. But when we don't communicate, the pieces get mixed up and the picture is blurry. That is, the need to work together, the need to bring different pieces together in order to achieve a whole. So we have our coach is the frame that holds us together, guiding us to make a better picture. And when we win, the picture is complete and perfect. So I hope you understand how I'm able to come up with this paragraph, build up on my initial metaphor, which is a simple sentence. Our team is a puzzle, a direct metaphor. But for an extended metaphor, you need to keep building, building on it, building on it to create the vivid imagery that you want to create in the mind of your reader or in the mind of your listener. So now let's see how to use extended metaphor to aid your YSSC exam success. Because you might be thinking, but you don't need this. Yes, you actually need it. So let's look at practical question 5 from section A YX 2014. Of course, if you are going to write a paragraph, then you should know that we are referring to the writing section. So we have the question, write a story to illustrate the saying, the devil makes work for the idle hands. It's going to be a whole full essay, but I'm just going to give you an example of one paragraph that is going to be a form of what? An extended metaphor. Just for you to see how you can use extended metaphor to write captivatingly, such a way that your reader will be convinced to give you your marks in full, which is what we want so that you can succeed in your YSSE examination. So let's read my paragraph. So we have an idle hand is an empty, abandoned room waiting to be furnished. So in that first sentence, I'm able to relate or compare an idle hand to an empty, abandoned room directly. So you can imagine in your mind when a room is abandoned or a building is abandoned and empty. So what happens to it? Let's continue. If you don't fill it with purpose and productivity, that is your hands, the devil will move in and decorate it with trouble and temptation. He'll bring in dusty old habits and worn out excuses. And before you know it, the room is cluttered with chaos. So, a very good example here is, have you ever seen an abandoned building before? Before you know it, weeds will start growing in that building, especially when it is yet to be completed. Weeds will start growing in that building. And if care is not taken, the weeds will even grow above the building. Before you know it, you can't even see any building until you go into the weeds because the weeds would have what? Covered the building itself. So this is like when you read this and you're able to imagine that, that is you having a full in-depth, you can relate with what I'm trying to say because I'm able to create a vivid imagery with my extended metaphor. So let's continue. But when you stay busy and focused, you are like a homeowner who keeps their space tidy and organized, leaving no room for the devil's messy influence. So, by doing this, you are able to create vivid imagery and you're able to pass your message across. That an idle hand is an empty, is a what? Is the devil's what? Tools. If you don't use it for something productive and purposeful, definitely the devil is going to give it something worse, something heinous to do. Are you following? So before I give you more explanation on how to use extended metaphor, let's also consider another paragraph that I've built on another question. So we have question 1 from section A, YX 2005. Your friend in another school has requested some information about your school to enable him decide on moving over to your school. Write a letter to him discussing at least 3 areas in which your school excels. So, I would also like to say this for your writing section, you are at liberty with your creativity. You can come up with different stories from different perspectives that you might like. All you need to do is make sure that you are using the English language effectively and make sure that your content conforms with the question. Do you understand? So you can actually approach this question from different angle. But I just want to show you what I was able to come up with to exemplify extended metaphor. So for this paragraph, I want to assume that I've written some convincing points, maybe 3 paragraphs, besides the introductory paragraph. So now I just want to say this for emphasis. So I'm going to say, moreover, I'll say my school is a lighthouse that guides ships to safety. So now I'm directly comparing my school to a lighthouse. So when my friend reads this, she's going to imagine being in a lighthouse or having access to a lighthouse in his head. That is, my school helps students find their way through their studies. It shines a light on the path to success, making it easier for us to learn and grow. Just as a lighthouse is strong and steady, my school is a solid foundation for students to build on. It helps me stay on course and reach my goals. So now you can imagine as I continue to build on that lighthouse. Just as a lighthouse is strong and steady, my school is a solid foundation. So you can tell that, oh, I'm able to build on the initial metaphor that I said at the beginning. So, this is one of the ways to use extended metaphors to build your paragraph. So, if you are still struggling with writing meaningful paragraph, writing captivating write up, you can develop your ability to write extended metaphor paragraphs. It is not difficult. All you need to do is practice. Your first might be bad, your second might be bad, but trust me, from your third, you would see the improvement yourself. So from today, pick up your past question, look up the question that you would answer. Just try to imagine like you're already in examination or and try to write a few paragraphs on the question using extended metaphor. Do you understand? Excellent. However, it's not compulsory that you stick to this, but it is also a good way and an impressive way to build your paragraphs. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson just as I enjoy doing this with you. Do you have any question? If you have any question, kindly put it in this comment section. And if you think it is difficult, it is not. All you need to do is just practice. Practice makes perfection. This is English with RMG. Kindly like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.